I think at this point everybody knows what Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu are, like what streaming is. It's a pretty ubiquitous thing these days. Like, there are people that don't even have DVD players in their house because everything is streamed. Well, I was reading an article earlier, posted by Disney Insider, about how Disney Plus is kind of like shutting down. I don't know if it really is shutting down, but based on some things, it almost feels that way. So the article was talking about Disney Plus missing sales projections for the first 2 quarters of the year. So they lost the rights to I think it's, IPL, the service that televises cricket matches, I think, in Europe and Australia. And a lot of people subscribed to Disney Plus so that they could watch those cricket matches, and Disney Plus didn't renew the rights to that, so they no longer were streaming that on their platform. And as a result, a whole bunch of people unsubscribed, and by a whole bunch, I mean like 4.5 million people, which is a considerable number. And you think about the subscription that they were paying is like $13.99 or $14 a month times 4.5 million. That's like a couple $100 million or so. Well, it's like almost about $100 million in loss right there, which is kind of a lot. But it was entirely Disney's fault. And then, because they just didn't want to renew the service, at least that's what the article made it seem like. And so Disney has been trying to take measures to rectify the situation and turn this into, like, make it still turn a profit this calendar year. And so to do that, they're increasing the prices of subscriptions by about 20% again, and they're removing a whole bunch of content. They're doing this whole content curation thing to make like the hosting of everything less expensive, I guess. And while I was reading this, I was just kind of thinking about the state of streaming as a whole and how much of a kind of a mess it's become. And I recall the comment that my dad made to me when I was visiting my parents a few weeks ago. So what he said was, it used to be there were like very limited streaming platforms. There was like Netflix was like the big one. That was the only real one you would go to. And then there was like maybe Hulu, and it was like $8 or $10 a month. You would sign up for that, and you could stream tons and tons of content whenever you wanted. There was no ads. It was really simple, and it was a lot cheaper than paying for like cable television. And Netflix became super popular, and so all these other companies started hopping on board with the streaming thing. And so we had like Disney make a streaming service, HBO's streaming service came out, Paramount's got a streaming service now, there's a Discovery Channel streaming service, there's Boomerang, there's Funimation, there's Crunchyroll, there's just so many streaming services now, it's kind of hard to keep track. And it's gotten to a point where, like, since all of these companies have their own streaming services, you can't get all the content that you want on one platform anymore, so you have to, like, buy multiple streaming services to get all the content that you want if you really want to. And it costs, like, the cost is more, pretty much, than just, like, paying for cable TV. And then on top of that, all of these streaming services have started adding these ad-supported plans. Like, they'll jack up the price of the ad-free plan, like, they'll jack up the price of the plan you were paying for by, like, 20 to 50%, and then add in an ad-supported tier that's half the price of what you're paying for that was, like, the price that you were previously paying. And so if you can't afford the price increase, you would hop onto that plan, but now you've got ads introduced. Because these companies saw an opportunity to make ad revenue from their streaming platforms. And what my dad said about that was, this kind of defeats the point of streaming in the first place. It was created as a way to stream and watch movies and TV shows without the usual advertising interruptions that you would get on live TV. And he's kind of right. Like, it does sort of undo, like, the whole point of it. Like, we all went to the streaming platforms to escape the advertisements because nobody likes having an ad break in the middle of their show, like, especially, like, the way that ads are structured now in a lot of shows. There'll be like an ad before it starts, and then you get like 10 or 15 minutes, and then an advertisement, and then another like 10 or 15 minutes, and then an advertisement, and then you get 5 minutes, and then an advertisement, and then like in the last 10 minutes there will be like 4 ad breaks, and you get like 2 minutes of show for every like 2 minutes of advertisements. And like, especially with like the news channels, when it gets to like the end of the segment, they'll like come back, they'll like have like 2 minutes of ads, then come back for like 30 seconds, and then go back to ads again. It is like, we came to the streaming services to escape all that mess, and now they're bringing all that mess to the streaming services, which a lot of people don't want. And because the cost is so expensive, people are just starting to see it as not worth it to pay for the streaming services, and they sort of move away from them. And I've been kind of thinking that too. There are a couple of streaming services that I have that I've canceled because like, I wanted to watch one specific show on that service because it moved from one service that I had to another, and so I paid for that service until I finished watching that show, and then I canceled it, and then I would come back like a month later, and it's like, oh, the plan I had now has ads in it. And I'm like, well, I have to bump up the plan now if I want to watch it without ads, and the whole point of having the streaming service was to not have the ads. And then, on top of that, all these streaming services have, like, they used to be, like, a place where you could go to find, like, new shows that were, like, more so works of art by the animators and the writers and the producers than just, like, entertainment content. Like, there was some really cool and unique stuff coming out as, like, Netflix originals, for example. And now a lot of these streaming companies have also started removing this content. Like, for example, Disney Plus, they increased all the prices, and then at the same time, they removed a whole bunch of stuff from their platform to try to cut costs. And it's like, the solution would be to get back to the cricket thing, because that's what a whole bunch of those people wanted. But I guess they probably didn't want to pay for the rights to have that streaming service, so they didn't renew their rights to have it. Then all those people left. And now, because of their decision, they're sacrificing other content to keep things positive. And then add in this ad-supported tier. So, like, if you have that tier, they're making ad revenue on top of all that. And it's just like, it's like almost like, why am I still paying for Disney Plus when a whole bunch of the stuff that I used the platform to watch is gone? And now I have to pay, like, 3 times more than the original price. Like, when I first subscribed to Disney Plus, it was like $7 a month because it was just the Disney stuff, and you know, it wasn't a ton of content on the platform, and it made sense, and it was a good streaming platform. And then I got the Hulu bundle because I wanted that Hulu included, and it was like $14 a month, I think, for the 2 streaming services. Then I eventually bumped it up to the bundle with ad-free Hulu, which I think made it something like $16 a month. And then they changed the whole bundle system. And now I still have the bundle, but now it's $20 a month because it's the ad-free Disney Plus plan and the ad-free Hulu plan. I think it's going to go up again because they're increasing the price of the Disney Plus plan. And if they're also increasing the price of the ad-free Hulu plan, like, having that bundle, like, it might reach like $30 a month to have my ad-free Disney Plus and Hulu. And that's just 2 streaming services. There's also, like, some stuff that I watch on Peacock and some stuff that I watch on Paramount Plus. And it's like, I might as well pay for a TV subscription at this point because I could get more content. Streaming is not what it was built for. And I think these companies need to realize that... Oh, that was weird. Music just cut out. I think these companies need to realize that streaming was not built with advertisements in mind. And we came to the streaming as a way to escape the advertisements. And so by introducing advertisements, you're pushing a lot of people away from these platforms because people don't want those advertisements when they're paying the company directly to access the content. It feels cheap. And, you know, a lot of people, Disney Plus and Netflix both have been losing a lot of customers as a result of what they've been doing. And it seems like streaming is kind of doomed unless they work their way back to what streaming originally was. You know, if they give us what we want, then they'll get the numbers that they're looking for. But they're so focused on reaching certain numbers that they're not thinking about their customers as people, and instead thinking about their customers as points on a flowchart. And it's like, if you're not making your customers happy, they're not going to stick around. So if you're like, we're going to cut costs and increase the price of the platform, and they won't be making more money, it's like, you might, but you're going to lose a lot of customers as a result, and the customer satisfaction is going to plummet. Like, if you're making a profit, but, you know, the user satisfaction rating is like 2 out of 5 stars, you don't have a good quality platform. And I feel like the focus for these streaming services is not to make a good platform anymore. It's just to make the money. And we've kind of lost the charm of what streaming was back in like 2012 through 2017. And I hope we can go back there. But like, the entire entertainment industry is just in a weird place. Like, movie theaters are dying because nobody goes to movie theaters anymore. All of the writers and animators are on strike because they're not getting paid enough, so we're not getting, as a result, a lot of those movies are being canceled because they don't have people to work on them. Prices for streaming services are going up. Like, it almost kind of seems like the entire entertainment industry as a whole is just kind of crumbling, and it's a little bit weird. I hope that we will see a lot of this start to get resolved, and these companies will realize that their approach to their platforms is not customer friendly, and they're losing people as a result of it. And I think maybe when they finally do, we'll get back to where we were, where these streaming platforms were allowing their artists to create art that we could enjoy. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that.